We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about a major movement that I think could be coming very soon on Bitcoin. I'm extremely excited to be here with you guys today because Bitcoin is on the move. It has been correcting, and today we're going to be talking about just that. As you guys know, Bitcoin has been in this symmetrical or even ascending triangle pattern over the last few weeks. And we have been discussing about how this pattern is likely going to have Bitcoin moving in a very volatile way. We discussed how the Bollinger Bands are extremely constricted out on the daily chart. Bitcoin did manage to have a major breakout from there, but we actually ended up stopping out. We broke straight through the top of the Bollinger Band, stopped out at 94,000, and now we need to know where Bitcoin is going to be going next. So we don't have much time for a stream today. I do apologize, but we are going to go here for about 20 minutes and get some TA in. So let's do it. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Bitcoin right now is in a bit of a corrective movement, and this is very likely going to be the handle of what is known as a cup and handle formation. You see, Bitcoin has set the rim line up here around $94,000 to $95,000. We've built the cup. Now we're building the handle. If Bitcoin is able to get some kind of bounce here relatively soon, then that would indicate that a break above $94,000 could be coming very, very soon. As you can see, if we actually connect several of the most recent local lows right here, 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 and here, you'll see there's a pretty strong uptrend, which is often characteristic of the cup and handle formation. You have the downtrend. That is basically a trading channel to the downside. And then when you break that downtrending trend line that represents the trading channel, then that's where you are able to actually see some confirmation. And it's actually possibly happening right now. Bitcoin is doing an underside and now an overside test of this downtrend. If Bitcoin is able to break above this downtrend, set confident support here, that's where you actually may end up finding yourself in position to go into a long trade that might look a little bit something like this. You can actually long your way right on back up to the $95,000 resistance and see if Bitcoin ends up moving in that direction. So this is a possible setup that you're going to want to be looking out for. Very possibly that Bitcoin could reverse here. It is a dangerous setup, and part of the reason for that is because, as we're going to talk about here in a minute, there is a very real possibility that conflict with Iran could be right around the corner. There have been rumors that are so far unsubstantiated that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has been evacuated to Russia. That seems to have been false. But what we do know is that there are mass protests going on all over the Islamic Republic of Iran today, as there does seem to be an Iranian revolution taking place in the exact opposite direction of the one that took place back in the late 70s, back in, I believe it was 1978, when the Shah was overthrown. So there is a real possibility that there could be revolution coming back away from the Islamic Republic towards possibly something more secular. We'll have to see. I mean, it's an extreme mess, but the reason that this is important for markets is that depending on what happens, if a war breaks out, if Trump strikes Iran, if you could see Israel strike Iran or some kind of conflict there, then there is a very real possibility of markets just dumping off a cliff. So this is some information that you're going to need to keep in mind when you're actively trading the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market right now, is that things can change very rapidly. We saw the exact same thing happen when Bitcoin was up here above $100,000. We saw Bitcoin was up above 100K. It had been above 100K for quite some time. And then when the attacks on Fordo happened, Bitcoin dropped down to about $98,300 before finally bouncing and rallying. It was actually the first time in over 2 months, or almost 2 months, that Bitcoin at the time had dropped beneath 100K. And so if we see something very similar to that occur, where you see an attack on Iran, whether it be from Israel or whether it be from the United States, who has vowed to support the protesters should Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah, and the government start shooting at them, then there is a very real possibility that Bitcoin could just dump off a cliff. So this is a long opportunity that's possible, but it's one that I would give a relatively low letter grading. And a big part of the reason for that is because just simply Depending on how you draw this, Bitcoin's already kind of falling beneath it, but there is a possibility that Bitcoin could break up here. So let's talk a little bit about a slightly longer term perspective. Where's Bitcoin going to go? I think that Bitcoin is in good shape right now to head back up towards $100,000, again, excluding some kind of major geopolitical reality coming in and knocking Bitcoin over. If Bitcoin does break through 95, the next logical target is $100,000. But as we've discussed, the bullish setup here is not as beautiful as we'd like to see. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here on Elliott wave, but if you'll remember, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is invalid because 1 and 4 creates an uptrending trend line. This breaks the second rule of Elliott wave, which is that the 4 wave cannot enter into the territory of the 1 wave, which means that this is not valid, which means that the idea of an ABC impulse over here is possible because this kind of looks like Elliott wave, but it's not substantiated. This is not even receiving a letter grade for us. This is receiving an I, which would mean invalid. This is an invalid Elliott wave setup, and it is possible, as we've discussed recently, that what we are experiencing right now could actually be the 4 wave of a larger Elliott wave that is forming, that is not completed, where we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 wave. We could be seeing a 5 wave building here relatively soon, and if that's the case, then that means that we should be looking for a rejection at some point here. As we've discussed in recent content, there is an enormous amount of resistance in between the trading block of about 103 to 106,000. It's going to be extraordinarily difficult for Bitcoin to break through that, so you guys are going to have to keep in mind that Bitcoin is in very rough shape right now from a bullish standpoint. There's very little reason to believe that Bitcoin's about to go through a massive breakout. What is significantly more likely at this point in time is for Bitcoin to remain range bound, and the only way that we really get some kind of confidence that Bitcoin is heading back up towards 100 is if we first test and then break through 95,000. Something that is possible in a scenario that you want to keep in mind is the possibility that we could have a break up here towards $100,000. And what that would essentially do is it would connect probably these uptrending levels of resistance right here. We could break through here, rallying up to like $98,000. And what that would do is I'd put Bitcoin in one big bear flag. This would seem like a good thing because Bitcoin is trending upward, but it actually wouldn't necessarily be as much of a good thing as you would think, because it would likely indicate that Bitcoin would be getting rejection at 100,000, and it would also be building, once again, this bear flag that would point lower, pointing towards that 5 wave of the bear market. As you guys know, we do have a confirmed bear market that has started, and so we need to be very careful to watch and see what happens there. I mean, in the last bull market structure, we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure here. Completely followed Elliott wave, all of the 3 rules. Then we had our A, B, C, right? Or you could even say potentially that this was the bottom of the C because this drop happened as a result of the FTX crash. And Elliott wave, this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern to the downside. And we are looking at a very similar pattern right now in the longer term. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 does not go below the start of 1. The 4th wave does not enter into the territory of the 1 wave. And the 3 wave is not the shortest. It is a strong impulse to the upside. In fact, it's probably one of the strongest impulses of all of the waves in the last 3 years. And so if that's the case, it would make sense that either this is a 1, 2, 3 as we're seeing here, or you could also just nix the entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern and call this a B, C, and we're simply in the B bounce, and the rest of the bear market is to come. So that's kind of how the short-term technical analysis lines up with the longer-term technical analysis. Bitcoin right now does seem to be eyeing a short-term recovery, but unless Bitcoin gets a massive, and I'm talking a truly massive breakout here, something really serious takes place, we are very firmly in bear market conditions, and we should be looking for lower levels. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to go down to $20,000, but as we've discussed ad nauseum here on the channel, there is a very serious possibility of Bitcoin dropping down to 75, or maybe even 60 or 65. If that occurs, I'm going to be a major buyer down there. If it doesn't, that's fine. Then Bitcoin goes up and we build wealth in the dollar sense. The thing I want you to keep in mind, though, as I kind of come to an end here, like I said, we didn't have a lot of time for a stream, but I want to give you guys a quick update. The major thing that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that Bitcoin has rallied dramatically. I'm sorry, not Bitcoin. Gold has rallied dramatically, right? If you look at the actual spot price, let's just look at the spot price of gold. It's sitting up here near all-time high, right? If you look at silver, right? If you look at silver price, it's sitting up here at 79 cents. Sorry, $79. You see this? major rallies. These precious metals are not going to rally forever. They're going to stop eventually. Now, I don't know when that is, and calling the top is not something that I'm particularly interested in. What I will say is on the daily chart, you do have strong, very strong, I mean, I'm talking ridiculously strong RSI divergence right there. There's some extraordinarily strong RSI divergence. You've got the silver market starting to fall over on the MACD. You're seeing the exact same thing on XAU, which is gold. Right? Let's just look at gold's spot price itself. You're seeing the exact same thing taking place here. You have a very long-term bearish RSI divergence, and then you also have a shorter-term bearish RSI divergence that could be forming. Out here on the 3-daily chart, you've got the bearish RSI divergence. You've got this kind of shooting star almost up here. It's not quite a shooting star, but a long upper candle wick. On the weekly chart, you can see that MACD is starting to kind of converge on itself a little bit. Daily chart is actually bearish on the MACD, which is not great. Gold and silver are going to trend for a while, but I mean, at some point they're going to stop. At some point they're going to stop. I don't know exactly when they're going to. And again, I don't think it's wise to try and call the top on that. But what I will say is eventually they're going to. And as gold and silver continue to go higher, the ratio of Bitcoin to gold continues to drop. Bitcoin is in its bear market right now. And it's a lot deeper in its bear market than people realize. If you connect these lows on the Bitcoin over gold chart, you can see that if you connect them perfectly, Bitcoin could fall a little bit farther, down to maybe 16. But then the bear market would be over. You just need Bitcoin to go a little bit lower, gold to go a little bit higher, and then that bear market is done. And Bitcoin would probably bounce in this zone. We're going to be looking at this chart a lot moving into 2026. This is the Bitcoin over gold chart. And I think this is a chart that is becoming extremely important to commodity investors that are investing in Bitcoin and investing in gold. Especially those that are investing in Bitcoin. So this is a chart that I think is going to play a very serious role moving forward. And if Bitcoin drops just a little bit farther on it, about 20% farther on it, you could argue that the bear market is over. And at that point, Bitcoin is probably going to rally dramatically against gold. Could that happen as a result of gold going through a crash? Yes. Could that happen as a result of Bitcoin going through a rally? Yes. Could that happen as a result of both of those things occurring? Absolutely, it could. And so this is what we're kind of looking at right now, right? We're looking at this. We're looking at this comparison. Now, I don't know if we actually have. Someone will have to tell me if you know. I don't know if we have a Bitcoin over silver. I don't think we have a Bitcoin over silver chart. But what we do know is that silver is going absolutely parabolic, and Bitcoin has lost a dramatic amount of value against silver over the course of 2025. And again, that is a cyclical. That's a cycle. That's a cycle that is going to play itself out. And when it's done playing itself out, you're going to see a major reversal where you're most likely going to see things shift dramatically. So, for example, if we bring up XAG here, let's just bring up silver spot price. It's the easiest thing to do. And we bring up gold, bring up gold spot price. What you're going to see happen is that in 2025, these markets moved dramatically in opposite directions. I don't foresee that staying the case because ultimately they both do very similar things. Both of these assets, both of these markets are representative of risk aversion against fiat currencies. And so as Bitcoin continues to be trading at a discount, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to go through a major, major rally here. But it's going to take time for it to accumulate. We're in a distribution phase right now, where you're having people sell down here, people are buying. A lot of strength is being built in this zone from strong buyers that have a lot of capital that are able to hold on to their Bitcoin for a very long time. They're enjoying these $90,000 entries, and so are we. And so that's what you're going to see take place. So at the end of the day, what I think you're going to see a lot of coming up over the course of 2026 is I think you're going to see a great deal of growth in the market. I don't think that you're going to see like an S&P 500 bear market this year. I don't think that AI is as much of a bubble as people make it out to be. What I do think is that Bitcoin is going to perform extremely well towards the back half of the year. We've been telling you guys this since October. Most exchanges, most people that we know behind the scenes and our own forecasts have been forecasting Bitcoin to drop below $100,000 for quite some time. 3 days after 10/10 on 10/13, October 13th, you can go back and see our video on this. We forecasted that Bitcoin would drop down to $94,000 to $100,000. We were one of the first people to forecast that Bitcoin would drop down to and possibly below $100,000. It then did that. We nailed that call. And then the day that we tested 94,000, we did an overside underside test, and I said it's going to break, it's going to fall. We're entering into a bear market. Bitcoin's going to drop from here, and then we continue dropping down towards $80,000. And I've been telling you for a very long time, $55,000 to $75,000 is that zone that the bears are looking at. The long-term bulls are looking at, where they want to acquire coin. And so it is very important that we understand that long-term perspective so we can continue building our investment portfolio in Bitcoin. But there's not much of a point in building an investment portfolio in Bitcoin if we lose it all. So I want to give you a bit of a word from one of our sponsors, which would be none other than NordVPN. If you guys have not already signed up for NordVPN, you absolutely should, because NordVPN is going to protect your identity while you browse online. And the way that you can do that is with Get the Deal over here. If you come over here and use our code, in fact, just use our link, nordvpn.com/Jeb, then you're going to see that you can get the Plus package here for $105 for the first 28 months. And when you sign up for NordVPN, you're going to be getting that 75% off. Now, this is really an amazing product, because not only is NordVPN going to keep you safe and secure while you're browsing online, they've also got anti-malware and browsing protection built into the product here on the Plus plan, and they've got the password manager and breach scanner. This is phenomenal, because this will manage all of your passwords through a product called NordPass, which I am a huge fan of, that we personally use, and it's also going to scan for data breaches, which is very important to your online security. So if you guys have not already signed up for NordVPN, I'm going to tell you really quickly exactly why you should spend the tiny amount of money, the chump change of $100. You have $100 is a lot of money, not compared to losing all of your money to a hacker. I mean, it's really not. It's nothing compared to losing everything that you've worked so hard for. Money is a unit of time. The amount of money that you spend on something is you trading your life, because you had to spend your life to earn that money. The amount of money that you spend on something is you trading a fraction of your life. So if you're trading a small fraction of your life, $100, let's say you make $25 an hour, that's 4 hours. Okay, but you're doing that to protect hundreds, if not thousands of hours worth of work that you've done building a financial portfolio in Bitcoin. That's a worthwhile trade. That's like an insurance kind of trade. You trade a little bit of money for 2.5 years almost to be able to have protection and provision for the other hundreds or thousands of hours that you put into what you're building. Protecting what you have, risk aversion, is extremely important, because there's no way that you can grow if you're constantly getting completely destroyed. So I highly recommend NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. Let's read a little bit of chat. Crypto OG Havika is in chat, said, hello. Rocket Race Official said America to buy 200K Bitcoin this year. Hopefully. Open long, guys, Bitcoin? Possibly. Let's see. Good afternoon, crypto family. Financial sovereignty for the win, as always. Let's see. Up or down, let's go. What's your prediction on Bitcoin if they rule Trump's tariffs illegal versus legal next Wednesday? Will the initial reaction be the correct one, or will it take time to digest? I think it's going to take time to digest. I don't think people are going to get that right immediately. And also, to be honest with you, if the Supreme Court does rule it illegal, I have a feeling Trump's just going to do it anyway. I say what you will about that, whether that's good or bad for democracy and the republic, I have no idea. But honestly, if they do rule it illegal, I think he's probably just going to do it anyway. So that is the real story, is if they rule it illegal, is he going to respect that or not? That's the question. And my hunch is probably not, to be honest with you. Probably not. I don't think he's going to go down without a fight on that. Yeah, so I don't see that being something that... I don't think their ruling is going to be the story. I think Trump's reaction to the ruling is going to be the story. If they rule that it's legal, then whatever, then that's the story. If they rule that it's illegal, the story's not going to be them ruling that it's illegal. The story is going to be how Trump responded to the ruling that it's illegal. Real quick, I also want to give you guys give a big shout out to ITrust Capital, one of our sponsors. If you guys have not already signed up for ITrust Capital, now's the time to do it, because your IRA contributions have reset in 2026. It's extremely important that you max out your IRAs, because they are the investment vehicle. They give you enormous tax advantages. Your IRA and your traditional IRA, whichever one you choose to max out, are very important to your wealth building journey. And ITrust Capital is going to allow you to invest in spot Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, not ETFs, but the actual cryptocurrency through their platform, ITrust Capital, and you're able to invest in your IRAs. It's also a very fantastic platform to roll over your 401ks, your TSPs, your 403bs, 457s, etc. There's a lot of different investment accounts that you can invest in ITrust Capital. through their premium custody accounts. The premium custody accounts are really cool because one way in, one way out. The only way that you can get your money out of ITrust Capital is to withdraw it to the bank that you deposited it with, which means that if somebody somehow compromised your account, they cannot drain you and just withdraw $175,000 worth of Bitcoin, which is a very, very, very big perk. So if you have not already, sign up for ITrust Capital with the link in the description box down below. You're going to get a big discount when you do. In fact, let me just go ahead and show you. You're going to get a big discount when you do. And so that link is down below as well. So if you haven't already, check out ITrust Capital. Links in the description box down below. So QE has started bullish. It's leaning in that direction. It hasn't actually fully started yet. There is a great deal of liquidity that's being added into the market. So stay tuned for that. We'll cover more of that topic in upcoming content. But like I said, I'm going to have to wrap it out today, guys. Got a lot of really cool stuff coming on Monday. We have finished our trading course. We have a bit of a delay. That's going to be launching on Monday, it looks like. But it is done. There's just something that we need to work out before launch. So that's coming. It's called 35A Mastery, and you are going to love it. In fact, I will go ahead and show you the sales page. So you're going to love it. Here's the sales page right here. 35A Mastery. As you can see, it's up. We've got over 3 hours and 12 minutes to be precise worth of content here spread across 5 videos. These last 2 videos are almost an hour. So there's a lot of content in here. Right now, the only way to get it is by going to our website, and it's $597, but we're going to be giving that to you for free starting on Monday if you sign up with Femex. So stay tuned for that. But that's not live yet. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Like I said, going to have to wrap it out. And before I go, I love you guys so much. I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.